welcome back to my channel. It's G from Happiness and Crafting. So, Lost Mojo Day. I'm going to do a little bit of a different one today. I'm not going to be working in my little book. I've been working on these journals. I've showed you how to do some of this in an Instagram video, and I've got 3 and a smaller one. And I just wanted to find something to put on the top, but I'm at a loss, so I thought this would be a really, really good one to do in a Lost Mojo video. So I've got 3. I don't know, I'm not quite sure whether I've shown you these before in a video, but they're the paper bag journals, which I'm loving. I've sort of done the spine in there. Well, I put it in there to make sure that, you know, it's even in there. And this morning I did sew a little bit along the top. Actually, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to show you this one. Just so. Take that out because that's going to be our spine. Like that. So that's our journal. It's made out of recycled a carrier bag. Not carrier bag. A Amazon bag. One of those big envelopes, and I've popped just a little bit of vintage lace across the top where this turns over. You can't see, can you see that along there? And then I've just gone around the edges and just made it look really pretty, and a pocket on there. So before I actually sew the bottom along, I'm just wondering whether to actually sew something to the front instead of sticking it to the front. So if I open it out, then I can sew it, and then you won't be able to see the inside, you know, the sewing. I'm not going to sew through because I want these as pockets at the front. But I don't know, guys. I'm not quite sure. I've got some, I did make up some little journal cards for the front. So I'm just, we'll have a think together. Let me just pop this back on. This is the spine. I've got 2 holes in each one, so each one has got a signature in it, which is these ones that I've made here. And each one's got 10 pages in it, or 20 when it's sort of like folded in half, so you get like 40 in there. So they will be going in. I'm not quite sure which ones. They're all different. So they will be going in like that. So you get 2 in there, which fits just perfectly. I just love them. I absolutely love them. So they'll go in, but I'm just, it's the front bit. I've got a little one. I've got my little one here, and I made this ages ago, and I thought my little green one would go on the front there, which I love. I need to put a pocket in here as well, but I think this little lady on there just looked beautiful. I'll add a bit of lace or something down here, and I will put lace or some fabric on the side as well. But she's going to be, that one's going to be for a later date. And I did make these up, these little journal cards, and this one I've put Whispers at the Writing Desk. And I just think that's lovely, isn't it? So whether I'm going to put these on there, I've got that one. I have this one which says A Gentle Friend, and we've got a little lady with a bird on it, and it's the Rose Garden, which is lovely, which I think I might put on that one, because obviously we've got rosy bits on there, so that would probably work on there. Like that. And then I've got this one which is Dancing in the Rain, which I might pop onto this one here. I've got to finish this one off with a little bit of lace around here, but I thought maybe we'll just work on one today. Maybe we'll work on this one today, because I'm at that stage I want to get these made, but I'm just like, oh, what can I do on the front? But I think that's going to be quite nice, isn't it, with that size on there. Not sure about the spine. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to sew the signatures into this and then stick this in, I think. I think I will. But I wanted to sew this onto the front. I've got some little bits Now, I think maybe, should we put this underneath? So that's too white, isn't it? I've got this one. What's this? This is just beautiful. I love this. So I've got this to go in. I wish I had bags and bags of this. It's just lovely. So maybe put a little bit of this on. Or I've got a pile of papers here. Shall I put this is coffee stain card. Do you think we should back that on to there? Oh, decisions. I can't make my mind up today. Let's have a look. I've got writing, but I think that's going to be too big, isn't it? It's a bit overpowering. What's that one? I don't want anything too colourful, but I suppose we could have... I know the writing doesn't really match, does it? I'd like a little bit of writing around it so you could see. Maybe we could do that. Seeing it's a sort of writing one, just layer that up like that maybe, and put that on. That would look quite nice, wouldn't it? Maybe we'll start with that. Let's just do that. Okay, I'll take this piece. I don't think there's anything else. I think this writing is just a tiny bit too big. I've got this. That's quite nice, but the orange doesn't really go, does it? Not with the pinky rose. Then again, I've got the rose papers. No, I think I think I like the writing paper underneath actually. Like that. Let's just pop that there. I've got so many sort of printed papers that's why I'm making up these journals, because I need to use them up. I've got to use them up. I'm going to tear this bit off because I don't want that big, the deed of titles on there. And we could have a little bit scruffy, couldn't we, around the outside? Oh, I like that. I like that. That's lovely. But I would like it. I'm going to just tear a little bit so we've got a bit more of a jaggedy edge than, if I can, than a straight cut edge. Like that. I think that's going to look kind of nice, isn't it? I think I'll ink around this bit. So if we put that like that, try and get it a little bit straight, move that over to about there. Won't go all the way down. Like that. I'd like a little bit of the writing showing it on the top as well, I think. Underneath there to about there. What do you think? That's quite nice, isn't it? Everything seems to be quite nice. Quite nice. What do you think? That's right, isn't it? I want it to look like a writing because it's whispers at the writing desk, which I think is quite a nice sort of little saying, isn't it? On there. I think that's going to be too big. Let's have a tiny little edge around that. Maybe I will, because I want to put a little thingamajiggy down here. Let's just have a look. So if I put that, so you've got a tiny edge. Just there. I can grunge the edge of this up, I think. I don't know, I could have used one of my, I think I've used them all up now, one of my little faux lead ones, couldn't I? What have I got in here? Let's just see if that would have worked, because I got one of the faux layers on here. Do you know what I mean? I think they're going to be a bit too big. Oh, I like that though. Oh, I like that. Too big for the front of the journal, but ooh, loving that. Putting a little portrait photo on there. Let's just scrunch this up a little bit. So yeah, lost mojo. I was a bit stuck today. Wasn't quite sure, but I thought if I do it in a video, I might come up with sort of a bit more of an idea as I sort of talk my way through it. Do you know what I mean? So sometimes when you talk to people, you get sort of like sparks of ideas, but as I'm talking, I know I can't hear you, but as I'm talking, I'm sort of getting back into a few little ideas in my head. So I'm going to use the vintage photo ink on here, I think, just so it's a little bit darker, because this photo is quite dark. It's got a little bit of a, you know, vintagey, more vintagey sort of look on there. But I tell you what, because I've got sort of like roses on that fabric, I probably could add, this is a big mess, add in a little flower or something, couldn't I? So we'll see. Let's see. Let's just ink. Do you think I should tear this a little bit? Oh look, that's pretty. Okay, so that will go on there. That will go on there. I do like layering things up, as you've probably guessed by now. After this last week and this week of making things. See, this lace looks really pretty on it as well, doesn't it? And I think I will sew that on. This is, let's ink this little bit. Shall I sort of pop some little bits of fabric in between this instead of something on the back? I think that might be worth a go. I could do with, to go around this bit, I need some lace, don't I? That will be done at a later date anyway, but I think this vintage lace just on the edge works really, really nicely. So that's about the right size. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to sew this anyway, but I'm going to just glue. Again, if you're going to do it, don't use double-sided. You don't need to print on the back, because this is just a waste, but that's all I have there. I'm not going to print out another piece just to use on here. So if you just stick down the middle bit, you've got these open that you can sort of like pop pieces inside. Let's just stick on the back of here. And then I will go around it probably with a sewing machine as well. Well, I'll have to go around it with a sewing machine because I want to sew it on to the actual journal cover, because this is quite a fine, what's it called, music paper. It's an old music paper and it's glued down. It's glued down really well, but it could still rip if I just stick it straight onto that. I don't want it sort of like catching on here and ripping off. So I think the best way is going to be to actually sew that to the cover like that. Lovely. Right, what was this piece I just saw hanging around? Do you know what I mean? You've got these little bits to just pop in. I'm not going to put too much down this side because we're going to get that lace in there, aren't we? So maybe I'll just put it over here. Let's take this off. Let's have a little bit of this. So yes, lost mojos, guys. it's a difficult one, isn't it, to get yourself back into a little, not schedule, but get yourself back into being inspired, I think. Losing your mojo, it means you've lost your sort of bit of inspiration that you want to come your way. So hopefully just making a little topper, just get yourself a little photo or something if you've got one. I don't have these in the shop. These are just ones I've made for these journals. They're only going to be for the journals, unless I make another sort of little photo kit or something. I want to just put this in both, really. Is that too much? I wonder if I could just bring that round then. Tuck this in. Like that. So it's sort of like in and out. Comes down. Is that going to be too much? I don't think so. That's quite nice, isn't it? I like that. I like that. I do. I think we need that other little piece. Might have to put just a little bit up in this corner in here. Push that down. Tuck it all in. And maybe pull it and push it and tuck it. Can you see that? Tuck that in. Maybe tuck that underneath there. Pull that out. In and out. Pop that in like that. That I'll wrinkle up. As I sew it, I'll probably just sort of wrinkle that up just a little bit. There we go. That's rather nice, isn't it? Oops, this little piece. Quite like that little piece sort of like dangling out the bottom. There we go. That's nice, isn't it? Because, and again, we can also stick things on. Once I've put the little spine bit on, I can actually add a few more pieces to this, just stick it over to give it that sort of like little depth and stuff in there. But I'm rather liking that, so leave that like that. Now I'm going to put it back on. I'm going to put it back on because I want to add a little bit. That would go, wouldn't it? Because it's a pinky. Do we wrinkle this up? Could just sew a little wrinkly bit. Wrinkly bit. I don't have any of this wrinkled up. Add a little bit in here. Decisions. Let's just pop this in. Make a little bow. Because I think we could have a couple of, or not a couple, but we could have a little bow on here, couldn't we? I think I need to get my bow maker out. Just dreadful at making bows now without that. Not convincing myself at all. This, I'd like to use a little bit. I've got lots of beautiful laces. Maybe instead of this piece, maybe I could just sort of layer some little bits up. Put this in here. Like that. Can be quite sort of shabbiness. Then look, I've got this lovely piece. So this could either go in there like that, and sort of come down, which is rather nice, isn't it? Like I've got all sorts of little pieces in here. Little rummage through this. Let's have a little rummage. That's quite nice. Let's take this piece off. This has got sort of a pink and a blue in there. It's been, there we go. Can you see that? It's got sort of coloured bits in there. Not sure whether you can see. I think you can. Which is rather nice, isn't it? That tuck under. Gosh. Pull that out. I wanted it to go in this bit. I might need to give this a little iron. Let's just tuck that. Actually, that's a perfect fit in there. Pop that on. And then tuck this in. Under there. Like that. What do you think? Do you think we need something a little bit more, a bit more movement in there? See, this is me with my lost mojo, guys. I can't think of what to put in there. That's a piece. Oh, that might be better. Oh, that's better, isn't it? Do you think? A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Which way round does this go? I think it goes this way. That can go on like that. I think maybe it needs some layers on here. I think maybe that's what we'll do. Another piece in here. Let's put that in there. Okay, just give me 2 minutes. I'm going to see what other little bits of lace I've got. Okay, so I found this piece, which is lovely. Now, it was a really silly idea for me to do that because I got so much lace up there that it took me a while. So I've just taken one piece of lace, and I'm going to cut this down through here. Because like I always say, less is more sometimes. Don't give yourself too much choice. And I went and did that. I can't use these scissors though. They're not the right scissors. So I'm just going to cut a little bit this down. Like that. Just so we've got a little bit. I don't want lots, but I think this looks quite nice. I love this sort of layered look. Then I've got these little pieces to either go down like here, so it just comes down through there, which whether we have one or two, I think we just cut this little bit off like this, and this can go on. I think I will probably stick these on afterwards now I found them, so that can come down, and then when we will take another one, whichever end I cut on here, let's cut this little bit off and put this maybe coming this way like that. Right, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to actually stick some of this down with some glue, and then just a little bit of glue, and then what I can do, I'm going to cut that there, and then I will sew it. But I just need a little bit of glue on there to stick this on so it's in place. I think this is going to be okay. This sort of tooly stuff is going to be okay. That's going to stay in there, because what I'll do is as I sew it, I will sort of move it around a little bit like that, and put that in. This piece I think I'm going to stick. That doesn't mean that piece can come over this way and be hidden as well with the spiny bit, I think, and then that can just sit on there like that. I don't actually And then trying to think ahead. Just wondering, because I need to sew this together. So this is a bit of a dilemma, guys, because I want to stick this on, but I also want to sew this down, but then, okay, I'm just going to leave that to flap. Okay. I think I'm confusing myself now. So I'm going to add just a little bit of this on here. I'm using Fabri-Tac because obviously it's a fabric and not tacky glue. You can use tacky glue, but because I don't want this to come off the bottom really for now, because I might even, like I did on another one that I did, my other one, I won't use this, but the idea, I might just sandwich that in between before I sew it. Do you know what I mean? So when you open it up, you've got another bit in here before I sew the bottom together. But I like that bit on there. Let's take that away for a second. I'm going to just pop a tiny, tiny bit of this in here. That would have dried by the time I come to sew it on the sewing machine. So I'm just going to pop this just sort of in there. Just ruchel it, runkle up like that. So you can just see the writing, you can just see the text behind it. And then I'll take another piece, pop that just in the other little layer. Let's put the lid on. Bring that up. So we've got this nice layered look on there. And I think layering up little bits of lace makes it look very sort of shabby and vintage, doesn't it? Look at that, that looks so pretty. Make sure I grab that when I sew it. Just chop that a little bit off. There we go. Fabulous. Okay. Shall just work with that. This is so pretty. So pretty. Okay, what was the other thing we were going to do? I think maybe I should just go to my sewing machine and just quickly sew this bit around. I think I'll sew just around the edge of the photo piece. And then when I go to sew it onto here, I can sew around this outer piece, or do I sew the whole thing on? Oh my gosh, guys, I really don't know. Because that's not going to hold this piece in. I'm going to sew it just on this bit. See, my mojo, lost my mojo on this one. What should I sew? Because I don't really want to sew over this. Oh, I suppose I could, couldn't I? Yeah, no, because I don't want to sew over this lace. Okay. Okay. So that's stuck down quite well, actually. I'm going to go in with this, another little bit in there. Once I've done it, I love it. But it's just getting to that point of you know, loving it. And not doubting yourself. Don't doubt yourself, because that's when you lose it as well. When you doubt yourself, you think, oh no, I can't do that. And then give up. But don't give up. Because you get there. You will get there. Just add little bits like that. So that's pretty, isn't it? Now I've pulled all this out. Okay, let's just tuck a little bit in there. like that. So what I'm going to actually do is sew this to the journal. I'm going to stick the middle bit down, and I'm going to just sew around the actual photograph like that. Or I might as well, yeah, and stick that on. That's about level, isn't it? And then these pieces I'm going to just separately stick on. So I could even have them coming underneath there as well. Then I've still got time, if I only stick this down, sew that down, to tuck more things in under this bit. Like that. Oh, that's quite nice, isn't it? Okay, that's that one. I'm going to do another one now, because I like that. That's done. I'm not going to fiddle with that one anymore. I'm going to leave that one as it is, and then I will sew that on. Okay guys, this is just doubting myself. Really am doubting myself. I'm going to do, and pop that one to the side because that one's done. I'm going to do this one, which is, it says Dancing in the Rain. So I'm going to put this one on here, which I love, but I might do the top bit, so I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to do this one because I want to add another piece to the top of here, just to reinforce this little bit like I've done on here. Sorry guys, I'm really away with the fairies today. This one, which I did, I put seam binding down the side. It's not the same as this one. This one's got some vintage lace on there, which is quite a lot wider. And then this one, I've got the vintage lace, but I've also got the vintage seam binding down there as well, around there. And what I've done, as I came down, I've wrapped it in and tucked it inside, so when I sew this together, I know that's in there safe and it's not going to fray. And I'll probably pop some lace on there as well. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to pop you on there like that. And I think kind of like this white one. Do I like this white one? Or should we go back for more of the creamy one, or the brown one? I want it to be light. This is exactly the same, isn't it? But in a different colour. Gosh, I'm going to go back to this again, but not do it the same as that. I'm not going to layer it up like I did on the other one. I'm going to give this just a lovely little pretty background, because we've got this pretty seam binding. I've got some more there that we can use. Let me just ink this up a little bit. Like this. This one, I think, probably go in with a little bit of the shabby pink as well. Couldn't it? Let's take a little section of this. Which piece shall we use? I'm just going to take this off my desk a second. And then go for, whoops, this bit here. So I was on the right bit. Let's get my fabric scissors. I'm going to just snip into this. I've said this before, this piece was already cut and had been used, so I'm not too afraid to sort of like cut into this piece. Because it was all sort of like cut up anyway, but I find it very, very difficult. I don't know whether you do, to cut into vintage, anything vintagey, because it's so old that I'm afraid to sort of cut into it, because it's just so pretty. Okay, so this one I'm going to do a little bit differently. I'm actually going to just wrinkle up some bits like I did, but tuck them under this as it is. So I might just stick her on and not give her a background. Just stick her on, and then I will sew around her. I'm going to do that so then I'm not doubting myself so much. There we go. This can go on like that. I'm going to take the middle bit out, open this up, and just pop it on like that. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I think I need to just lie it like that actually. Bouncy, bouncy. Oops. Clip that together. Right, let's take some of this. Just, oh, I could probably go thinner than that actually. Let's just do that. Snip that down, there we go. That's perfect. We can just tuck this in. Like this. And this down the bottom. Just tuck it in so it just sort of like comes out a little bit. Now I've got that lovely pink, haven't I? I've got this lovely pink piece as well, which is just beautiful. That would look lovely actually. Do you know, I'm going to take that out. Take a little bit of this. Pop that in. Do you know, when you do it, normally the first thing you do is always the best thing. The more you start fiddling around, the more you it's like this doubting thing, isn't it? You doubt yourself that it's going to be right. So I'm going to stick this piece down. Let's just pull this out. So I'm going to go a little bit longer. A little bit of glue in here. I'm going to actually just stick this right in here. Put this under. Just wrinkle it up a little bit. Like that. Squash that down. Lovely. Then take this. Pop this in. Like that. See, this lifts up. We can also add in. This is that fabric that I used in the faux layers that I added in. Let's just scrunch this up a little bit. Just scrunch and stretch. Just tuck that in under the little bit of lace. Like that. Oh, so pretty. Let me just pull this down, just so those match together. Don't you think that's so pretty, isn't it? Just keep going. If you're doing a cover or a journal cover, just sort of keep going and add little bits. No, I can't do a bow. I would like to actually have a little bit of this ruffled up on here. just a little ruffle. I don't want to cover a gentle friend, because that's going to be this name of the journal, which I think is just beautiful, isn't it? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to my sewing machine. I'm going to just take a piece of this. I'm going to sew it on here. Oh no, I won't, because that's quite nice. I might need that for something. I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper, which I have somewhere. I have a piece of, it's just copy paper, and all I'm going to do, I've done this loads and loads of times, is to wrinkle it up on the sewing machine. I'm just going to sew this onto a piece of paper, and as I sew, I will sort of like wrinkle it up, and I'll give 2 seconds. Okay, so there we go. I've just taken the piece of paper with my sewing machine, and I've taken my little screwdriver, and I've just pushed it under the needle, under the foot of the sewing machine, to wrinkle it up. And it's so much easier to do it on paper, because you can just tear it off. Trying to do that with nothing underneath would be such hard work. So I normally do it on this, and then all as you do, where you've sewn down, you just pull that off, because you perforate it. Because it's all perforated already, then this just pulls off, and you can pull all those little bits of paper off, and then you've got this lovely little wrinkled up little piece of seam binding or ribbon or whatever you use. There we go. And then, oh, there's the little piece of paper. I thought I saw a piece, and the paper, look, it just comes off. And then once you've stuck that down, you know, it won't unravel from the ends if you add a little bit of glue. So this is what I'm going to add onto here, but not right now. I will probably, because I'm going to sew around this bit, I will add this on afterwards. I will stick that on, but I just wanted to see what that would look like, and I like that. Might even pop a little bit at the top, because I don't want to cover that rose garden bit up either. But it looks so pretty, doesn't it? Oh, so pretty. So that's our little bit that we're going to keep. And do you know, I'm going to go to my sewing machine in a minute. Should I do it now, or should I tuck these bits in? I'm going to go to my sewing machine, guys, and I'm going to sew around this and wrinkle these bits up just to show you what it's going to look like. Because I can always add extras, or shall I add a little something in here before I go? What do you think? Push that in like that. Turn that over and sew down there. How far does that come over? So it takes quite a lot to make a journal. I think sometimes people don't realise how much goes into making a journal. The decisions you have to make, hoping it's going to be the right one. I'm just wondering whether this would scrunch down as I did it. Decisions today. Wonder if I could wrinkle this bit up. Okay, that doesn't sound right to me. That not sound right. It doesn't feel right. So I think I'm going to just go back to my safety net of netting. So I think that's probably what it is. It's a safe option because I know what it's going to look like. And I'm happy with how it looks when I do that. So I think this is just the style that I use, and I think it's just sort of like me. You know, when you get a style and you get something that, you know, you always sort of like come back to. I think it's this sort of netting and tulle and stuff that I like. I think it's just sort of like the way I work and how I like it. So I think that looks really nice. And maybe I will pop, seeing it says the rose garden, I could pop some little sort of like my little seam binding flowers on. I don't think I've got any. Have I got any here? Oh yeah. My little basket of little flowers. I've got my little seam binding flowers on here because I think she's a rose garden and I think it's just pretty. So these can be added on at the end, can't they? So guys, I'm not going to sew this one on yet, or shall I? Shall I just sew them on and go for it? Right, I'm going to do that on the sewing machine, so I will be 2 seconds. I'm not going to move my camera, but I will come back when I've sewn these, so 2 seconds. Okay guys, so I have done it. I have sewn both of them on. I just love them. Okay, so this is the difficulty of decisions, isn't it? Are you doing it right? But in the end, you do. It all comes out really well in the end. And if it doesn't, does it matter? I'm using Amazon packaging bags. I'm using recycled stuff. So don't worry so much. Don't stress over it. And if you lose your mojo, have a go, make something and see how it goes. You just got to sort of like go for it. And I'm just think that's come out absolutely beautiful. I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. And this one, look at that. So pretty. We've got all this beautiful soft, it's not it's sort of like a thick open weave tulle, but it's not. It's sort of like a netting. But oh, just love how they've turned out. So that was a bit of a one today, wasn't it? While I was doubting myself, which I don't normally do. So I'm going to just pop that in there like that, and just pop that on like that, just to hold that. So that's how big it's going to be. Let's just put one on the bottom here. And then let me just grab 2 of these. I will be sewing these in. So that's just going to sew in, and that's how it's going to look, like that. So just perfect fit. Loving it. And then we just need a nice big piece of like this one, maybe this one, lace or something to go down the spine like that, and I think that will look really pretty. See the lace, or I do have this, which is on here, which is the same as the front, or this bit, which I'm not quite sure. I'm liking sort of like something pinky. I'll find something else that I've got, I think, so I think that would look really pretty, won't it? Lovely. So lost mojo. I nearly lost my mojo today, didn't I? So that's a good one, guys. I'm going to leave it there like that. I'm going to finish this one off. I'll finish this one off. I want to just sort of like reinforce this top bit, because like I said, it's just stuck on paper and I don't want it to come off. I don't want it to rip, but it's on there pretty sturdy, and then that one can go on. So I will pop, I think I might actually use a little bit of this like I did on the other one, because this is just lovely. It's very delicate, and that just going down the side. Make sure, because this is quite, although this is like a pink sort of Hessian type ribbon that I used on there, putting this on, it sort of softens it and makes it a little bit lighter, I think, because that looks quite heavy, doesn't it? But covering that up, just that edge, it sort of like softens the side of it. That's what I think. That's what I think. So carry on, just carry on and work on what you're doing, because I did doubt myself lots, and I don't doubt myself. I normally just get on with it. I think it's because as well I like to do things differently, not kind of sort of like do the same things, but I always come back to this soft tool, and I think that is just what I use. And I think if you find something that you use and you're happy using it, keep using it. Don't think you have to change all the time and do sort of like lots and lots of different things the way you do it, because if it works for you, just do it. And this soft tool and things like that, that's how I work, and that's the happiest I do it. And then, you know, just do what you do you guys, just do you. So there we go, Lost Mojo Makes. It wasn't a major Lost Mojo Makes, was it? But I did find it difficult. This is why I wanted to do it in this video, because I did find it difficult on how I should do it. And I think that is the form of losing your mojo, isn't it? And doubting yourself. But there we go. I'm loving them. I love it. I just love them how they come out. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Have a fantastic rest of the evening. And I will see you soon. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.